Thanks, Daniel. As Daniel said, we met in India a few years ago, and we've got to become quite good friends. And I really come to respect Daniel as somebody who really understands engineering work process. He understands that's in the front of his mind, and he enables it with software and IT. So we also have developed a shared passion for cricket together over the years, it was total serendipity that in our dealings with potential outsource providers and partners, we came upon a particular company that was installing, ended up being Daniel's software, and I became very interested in it. I introduced that tool, and I introduced Daniel and his people to my EPCM team several years ago. And of course, the tool that Daniel has developed, the wrench system and the process, helps manage the E as part of the EPCM. And of course, it was very interesting to introduce this tool to my global project controls fellow, who is quite well schooled in all the competitive systems that were out there. And according to him, it was the best thing he'd ever seen. And he was quite familiar with a lot of the in-house systems that have been developed. So I respected his position immensely, but it took several years to convince our organization to pilot the software, and I'll share with you a little bit about what we're currently doing with it. Wrench for us accomplishes a number of things. It accomplishes document control and management, where you can actually embed the workflow, your customer workflow and the workflow of your subs in the work process itself. It facilitates engineering control and progress measurement, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And it is scalable. We selected it because we knew that we could try it out on a few small projects. Now we're into actually having scaled it up into some quite large projects. We have 3 major programs that we've implemented wrench on. We have over 100 people using the software today. Now let's just take a step back, because this really isn't about tools, is it? From my perspective, it's about people, process, and then the tool. And the people aspect of it is about culture. And I do believe that the collaboration trends that now dominate our industry is really the necessary response to the marketplace. I mean, many of us operate large organizations, multi-office platforms, and when you really want to put together that perfect team for a customer, it often involves delivery from multiple centers. If it's a very large and complex project, it could involve other players, other operating units. Wardrop is now, the group that I run is only about 1,300 people, but we now operate within a company that's 10 times that size, and we're sharing work with other operating units. So I think that you know, to really facilitate this, you really need to have collaborative DNA within your organization. And one of the reasons, you know, Wardrop became part of Tetratech is we actually believe that you know, we're leaders in collaboration and have a fantastic collaborative culture. So you have to build on that first. So irrespective of what you do to set the tone from the top around collaborative values, and you cannot force people to use systems and tools. It really does come down, as Daniel suggests, to building trust, both internally and externally. Customers, if you're selling them the ability to execute their project across multiple offices, want to see how you're doing it. Ultimately, they want to watch while you're doing it, and they want to have transparency to look at, if they want to, specific deliverables and how you're statusing them. If you're claiming that you're 50% done on a specific deliverable, ultimately the customer would really want to be able to see that and validate for themselves. Internally, I think, is even the greatest barrier. Our people internal to our organizations have all kinds of reasons why collaboration may not work, or why it's difficult, or why it's risky. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that engineers need to see each other, in particular of certain generations, and certainly, you know, my generation and older, they need to see each other. I'm not so sure that's true of the new generation of engineers coming out of school these days, but they're not the ones running the projects right now. So you need to build social infrastructure within your companies to be able to do that. And what we've found is that Wrench provides for us a level of granularity and a level of visibility that allows teams to build trust over time, because they're watching, again, at a highly granular level, the movement and progress of deliverables. So it allows our teams to prove to each other that, irrespective of what their managers told them to do, that it's actually really working. So that fabric of that's social capital or trust within your company can be facilitated if you have the right tools and processes. Now, when it comes down to process, I think we all desire to have more engineering rigor, more repeatability in our standardized processes, or we're working for customers that, irrespective of our own internal way of doing things, our own customers want us to align with their processes. So what we found is that Wrench can be tailored to those customized processes, and it forces highly granular planning and provides a high degree of visibility to everyone on the system to how it's going. You have to have your work breakdown structure aligned with specific deliverables. Each work breakdown structure element is aligned with a specific deliverable, be it a document or a drawing. So it really allows validation of your work and process, both internally and externally, as I've said. I always find that you have these discussions when it comes to how done are you? Well, I'm done my spec. Really, are you done it? Yeah, I just finished it. Is it in draft? No, it's final. I sent it to the customer. So you're done? Yep. Okay, so what's the customer doing? Well, the engineering needs to look at it, and then they're going to put it through procurement, and then I'm going to get back comments. Well, then you're not done. Well, I would be if I didn't get any comments back. And has that ever happened? So you actually have to schedule those reviews, those customer reviews, and that cycle. So when are you expecting it back? So when are you going to be done? And you have these inane discussions that really require a much higher degree of work planning than people actually want to do. And when it comes right down to it, in the Western world, our workforces want to be empowered, and they hate planning at this level of granularity. So it really does require leadership. It requires a good tool that functions well, because people always like to blame the tool. And I think this is great for the industry to be able to enforce kind of a higher degree of rigor in this granular planning process. So as I mentioned, we are operating at quite a large scale now. We're looking to create some success stories. The projects are going well. It took us a couple months as an organization to get super users trained up. And I think, Daniel, we've been operating for about 10 months now in terms of these projects. The customer loves it. Some people have aligned to it very well and are making great use of it. We get fantastic progress reporting. Some people are still resisting it. Again, because of this, they don't necessarily like to have other people knowing that they may not have progressed that deliverable as much as they're reporting. So we are finding that it's a great tool. It does require culture change. The trust building component of the tool and the culture that you said is, these things are all integrated. But I'll kind of end with this, that I think it's a bit ironic that this tool has been developed by my friend in India, because I think we have a certain amount of professional arrogance in the Western world, where we would like to think that it's our job to lay out the processes and then teach low-cost centers or people outsourcing centers in India how we want our work done. And it's a bit ironic in my mind that the innovation for these types of tools and techniques are actually coming out of India to allow outsourcing or work at a distance or trust building between geographically disparate teams to occur. So it's great. I think it's cool that Daniel's here, and I'll let him continue.